Hey, welcome to a very special edition of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I am thrilled that we are here. This is unique. This is a real occasion.
Yes.
You are all, of course, familiar with Hans and Franz. Dana Carvey, Kevin Nealon's classic bodybuilder characters from SNL. These were monsters. These were monster characters. Everyone was doing the Hans and Franz all across America. It was big. It was a big deal. But a lesser-known fact is that Dana, Kevin, Robert Smigel, and myself wrote a feature-length Hans and Franz movie way back in the year of our Lord, 1991. It was a musical. It was an incredible vision, and it was shockingly never made. You know, the only movie based on SNL characters that wasn't turned into a movie. No one has ever seen or heard this script, ... until today. I am here in studio with Dana Carvey, Kevin Nealon,
Hi.
and Robert Smigel. This is the first time any of them have spoken to each other since the movie fell apart. Everyone in this room has refused to speak to each other, but now we've come together.
Put aside our differences.
Put aside our differences, and we're going to read selections from Hans and Franz, The Girly Man Dilemma. A title you probably couldn't use today. Hans and Franz, The Girly Man Dilemma. Remember, it was 1991. We're safe.
Sorry.
We're going to read this more than 30 years after we wrote it. Gentlemen, first of all, I'm thrilled that we could all be here. Dana,
Good to see
Kevin,
you all.
Robert, how you guys doing?
Kevin?
Oh, well, I'm just
Kevin, how are
I'm
you
over
doing?
the moon to be here
Yeah.
to see that you are still in the business.
Thank you, Kevin.
Stuff that we predicted in 1991.
Yeah.
No, it's nice that we could come together. I wanted to sort of set the table first before we begin, explaining a little bit of the background of what we're doing here, okay? First of all, we're going to read this script, scenes from the movie. We're not going to read the whole movie.
Thank God.
The whole movie would be over 6 hours long. But what we're going to do is we're going to start by reading an opening sequence first. We have some Team Coco staffers in the back that are going to help us with some smaller roles. Sonam Movsesian, Matt Gorley, David Hopping, and Matt Powers are going to be assisting in smaller roles, helping us out.
No role is too small.
No role is too... No, that's not true. Some roles are very small. In fact, I'm reading one of the small roles, but I'm also going to be reading stage directions. And, of course, Hans and Franz will be played by, of course, appropriately,
Hans
by Hans and Franz, Dana and Kevin. And Robert, you will be playing the part of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is that
We
right?
didn't get Arnold?
What's that?
No,
We didn't.
Arnold's here.
Yeah. We
Would you
couldn't
like
get,
to meet Arnold?
We couldn't...
It's a pleasure to be here.
Wow!
What an honor.
Arnold just walked in. This is
It's an
incredible.
honor to be part of it. Finally, the Conan O'Brien Needs a Human Friend podcast.
Arnold, amazing that you would just wander in without even being
You're
invited.
amazing that I would just wander in.
You're so animated.
No, I can't believe I'm in the studio in Larchmont. I'm pinching myself.
Settle down, Robert. Settle
Yeah,
down.
okay, all right. Oh, yeah, he's good.
We don't want him mad at us.
Oh, right.
Let me point out quickly that Robert, for many, many years on my late night show, was the voice in the Clutch Cargos of Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was one of our biggest hit characters. He would always come down and I would start interviewing him and it would always end up with him yelling at me. And you
We
always...
always start with him yelling at you
start
as
with
well.
me. Yeah, exactly. It was
Sort of the beginning,
it was
middle, and the
symmetrical.
end.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you looked familiar,
Yeah.
man.
Thanks,
Sitting there
man.
thinking,
Yeah.
And
where
Robert-
did this guy from?
Mouth of Arnold.
Robert always had, this is how low tech it was, to create a little gap in his teeth, he'd put a little piece of electrical tape
Electric tape.
in front of his two front teeth, and always in the middle of every bit, it would start to come off.
Yeah.
And then we would deconstruct it, and I'd say, Arnold, your teeth are right. Don't look!
Don't
It's fine.
I have my gap is delicious.
How would we explain this impression to like Rich Little or something?
I know.
No,
To anyone-
this is our Arnold.
It was I was an imprecisionist, I used to
Yes,
call myself.
exactly.
Conan, I'm a
my
little
favorite.
confused.
Yeah.
You said you were going to set the table. When is that going to happen?
Not literally set a table.
Oh, I thought we were having lunch or something, man.
no,
I'm
no, man.
surprised.
All right, so that's what's happening is
We should explain to people under 25 who Hans and Franz are.
Hans and Franz, and I think we should quickly, and I know that I have my minders who are sitting in the room glaring at me that I keep this thing on the track. This is going to take place over multiple episodes. We're going to read different scenes, and we'll take you through everything. We're going to start reading the opening sequence in just a bit. But just to tell you, Hans and Franz, it was a big deal on SNL. Kevin, where did the idea come from? Because you were watching television, I believe, once, weren't you?
I was in a hotel room in Des Moines, Iowa, I believe it was. We were on
Kevin
tour with
and
Dana, Dennis, and me. And I was watching Up Close and Personal with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he would talk about, what he does when he gets into town. They were asking, what do you do when you get into town? He goes, well, first I get into the nice light cotton shirt. I go out on the town. I have some fun. Then I come back to the hotel room. I get into the nice light cotton sheets, And I called Dana and I said, Dana, you got to watch this. And we were both laughing at it. And then for the rest of the tour, drove Dennis crazy. We're talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And it was the precision and the positivity. So Kevin told me that. I laughed. And it became a poem we did ad nauseum. It's like, you get to the hotel, you do the stairs, you get a light sweat, you take a nice warm shower, you put on a light white cotton shirt, and you're ready for the evening.
Yeah, you're ready.
It always went to you're ready for the evening.
You're ready for the evening. It's all the preparation.
So you two are doing this back and forth, and then eventually this becomes Hans and Franz, these two characters who want to pump you up. And
Arnold's cousins.
Arnold's cousins, and they're constantly talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and became a very popular
but also
SNL sketch.
Very defensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they try to cut people down before they mock them.
Well, they're paranoid and delusional and aggressive.
What was it now? Believe me now and hear me later.
Hear me now. That was Kevin's. Hear me now and believe me later.
If you think you're so smart, why don't you come and do what we do? No way, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're on a cable TV show with like 3 viewers, and they're threatening them, and they never show any feats of strength or lift anything. So let me tell you something. If you doubt this, we can very easily come to your house, and you'll see in the script what that we.
Dan and I never laughed more than we were writing these characters
for hours
because they were just so
fun to do.
So then you guys, and we'll talk about this how it came about, but
we just did, didn't we?
No. Those are the characters. Then there was the idea for the movie.
Right.
That was way later.
Yeah, it was several years later, and I think you guys talked to Robert, and Robert talked to me, and we agreed we would try and write this thing. So let's take you now. I think we should begin.
Let's just do a scene, see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'll read the stage directions. Okay. And this
just remind me, am I Franz? And he is Hans, right? It's been a while.
You are there to pump other people
I got it.
No one ever knew which one was Hans and which one was Franz. Okay, here I take you now to Hans and Franz, the girly man dilemma. Here we go. Interior, cable TV studio. Hans and Franz, 2 crew-cut Austrian bodybuilders with gray sweatsuits, are on the set of their program.
Welcome to Pumping Up with Hans and Franz, the informative training program for the serious weightlifter.
Welcome. We're back. As always, don't try to adjust your TV sets. This is our actual size.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're looking at 2 of the most massive muscle gods you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, because I am Hans.
And I am Franz. And we want to pump
you up. We followed the message of our cousin, the greatest bodybuilder in the world.
Yeah, maybe you've heard of him.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
As they continue, occasionally cut to glazed, indifferent cameramen and technicians, all out of shape.
Hear me now and believe me later. We could easily grab your love handles and stress them around you like a bag so you can carry yourself out to the garbage.
Cut to cue card man holding a card reading, yeah, because that's where trash like you belongs.
Yeah, because that's where trash like you belongs.
Interior, a bedroom, same. Rob Lowe, as his character from Wayne's World, is in bed with a woman. She holds remote control.
Wait a minute. Keep it on this for a minute.
Interior, studio, same.
All right, let's bring out our guest.
Helmut, a flabby, shirtless Austrian man, joins Hans and Franz. He appears painfully resigned.
This is Helmut, a typical person. Helmut is what you would become if you're lazy.
Interior, Rob Lowe's bedroom, same.
Nah, this sucks.
He flips to another channel. Exterior, ugly white brick apartment building. The next morning. Interior, Hans and Franz's studio apartment, same. A cuckoo clock wakes up Hans and Franz asleep in their bunk beds. Several Arnold posters hang from the walls. Many framed signs with slogans, no pain, no gain. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't help. believe me, etc. Music, cheerful, morning. Hans slides out of the top bunk, stepping into Franz's hand stirrups. They are in their pajamas and weight belts. Bathroom door. Hans is knocking to come in.
Come on, Franz.
Interior bathroom. Franz is flexing in front of the mirror. Exterior bathroom.
Let's go. There are some other people in this house that need to flex.
Interior living room. Later, Hans is watering and berating a sickly plant on the windowsill.
Come on, you lazy geranium. Or whatever that's called. Grow. Look how scrawny you are.
Yeah, I could very easily pull you out by your skinny roots.
Yeah, you look more like a daisy. Is that what you want?
He's yelling. They're yelling at a plant.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
deserves
Danny,
it.
a gangly, nervous student who lives next door, arrives at their entrance.
Guys,
Yeah, what?
can you keep it down? I'm just trying to work on my thesis.
Yeah, look, how long are you going to be finished with that?
Yeah, you're going to be needing this quiet business.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just hit on this whole new verbal dynamic.
Yeah, look, we'd love to chat and engage in girly talk. But now we have an appointment with a station manager.
Interior TV executive office. Later, two young executives are seated opposite Hans and Franz. Everyone is uncomfortable.
It's just that Martin Luther King is a real hero in our society.
Yeah.
So to describe him as flabby,
He is.
well, that's not the issue. What you said was offensive.
English, please.
Look, we've just gotten a lot of calls and a lot of pressure to pull your show.
You pulling our show?
From television?
We're sorry.
There is a pause.
Look, your suits. You sit there and make decisions in your suits. And you don't know what the people want, you know. The people, you suits.
Yeah, suits.
So does that change your mind?
No.
Exterior TV studio. Hans and Franz mill about outside the TV studio, dejected.
This phase of our lives is over. It's time to start from scratch.
Yeah, get in touch with our roots. Let's bring a snack.
Interior subway car. Later, Hans and Franz are in a modern subway car, gnawing on a large ham. All right, so that is, it's the opening scene, Hans and Franz. Here's what I can recall. I had left Saturday Night Live,
Yes,
and
you
I
had.
was out in Los Angeles working on The Simpsons when Robert called me and said, let's
Yeah.
write the Hans and Franz movie.
Well, we had already been writing some of it, I think.
Yeah.
Me and Kevin.
We weren't going anywhere with it.
And we
No.
did the first, a
Yeah.
lot of the
Did it
early
pass?
stuff. And I just said, I think it would be great to add Conan to the mix, especially and the second half with Arnold and stuff. There's so much great details that you added to this movie
Mhm.
that are so
But
funny.
he just wanted to keep
but-
using the names Homer and Bart and everything. That didn't go with our script.
That is not true.
It's not true.
That's a
But anyway,
falsehood.
what I remember is we all got together on a lot. Was it which lot was it?
It was Sony.
Yeah.
Was it Sony or
So we had an office, and
Yes.
what I remember most clearly is we would get there, Robert and I would get there, and Dana was pretty prompt. Kevin would usually show up just a little late, and at the time, you always had a giant shake of some kind of.
Oh,
You
it was
were-
Slim Fast.
It was
Yeah.
Slim Fast,
Yeah.
and you were always sipping on this giant bottle like a baby.
Yeah, I'm still doing it today.
Yeah.
And he also, I remember, especially in the early stage, you always had these prepared food that was.
Yeah, there
That
like-
was
was a
Jenny
lot of-
Craig. That was Jenny Craig.
Jenny Craig.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So you mixed Slim Fast with Jenny Craig.
Well,
That could kill you.
Yeah,
I
it
did,
really
but
could.
also I had Weight Watchers in my freezer. So I did the three of those, and I gained so much weight.
Yeah.
You
like,
gained 60
sugar.
pounds.
Just like
Yeah.
a Mormon diet.
That's right.
Just-
That's right.
And
The Weight Watchers woman would come to my house
uh-huh.
because I would get the VIP treatment, and she didn't know I had Jenny Craig in the freezer, and I said I love Weight Watchers, and then I said I got to go to the bathroom. I go into my freezer, get a little Jenny Craig out, and then come back out.
I thought it was more like Chinese food and stuff. But didn't you have
No,
like
no, he
bowls
was-
of things?
I didn't know you guys
super
were
healthy.
keeping track of what I was eating
I'm
and how.
just saying,
This is the biggest memory of the whole script writing. It was
First of all,
Kevin's
let's
food.
backtrack. I was never a little late. I was the first one there with Smigel.
I don't remember him being a late type of person.
I don't even remember you two guys
I
writing
just remember
on this.
being a health freak.
Okay, now you've gone too far.
No, you have gone too far.
But I was always trying to get time off from The Simpsons. I remembered they would always keep that writer's room kind of late, and we would try and grab time on weekends. I would try and grab any time I could to go off to Sony to work on this ridiculous, silly movie. And one of the things that a sensible person would have done if we had been sensible, because we're getting to Arnold Schwarzenegger, is to write a movie that maybe Arnold has a quick cameo in, because Arnold at the time was the biggest movie star in the world. What we did, what shocks me now upon rereading it, is I remembered Arnold was in it, but I forgot
how much he was
that
in
Arnold
is in
it more than anybody. and so we hung the entire project.
But didn't this kind of come from Arnold on some level? Like, I remember hearing this from you guys, that Arnold wants to be
he was
in a
on
Hans and
at
Franz
least once
movie
or
with you.
twice. He was on Hans and Franz on Saturday
Yes,
Night Live.
yes.
Loved it. There's reasons why it didn't work out. We can get to those later, I suppose. But he
That's
loved
why
it.
we thought he did want to have a major part.
And at the time, he hadn't really done anything like this yet. And he was interested in it. And I remember that. And I remembered thinking, well, if Arnold, also the allure of if Arnold says yes, this is going to get made, so we can make this as silly as we want, because he's going to, if Arnold says yes, all the craziness is going to happen.
Exactly. And I have to admit that when Dana and Kevin first approached me with the idea of doing a Hans and Franz movie, my first reaction was, what a horrible idea, because they're such one-dimensional characters in theory. So my first thought was, well, what if we made it a musical? That'll kill 25 minutes.
Right.
That's less plot, and it's fun to see them sing.
Right.
And then these guys said, you guys had this idea that they're going to go to Hollywood and they're going to interact with Arnold. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, because then the second half of the movie can be almost like a parody of Arnold's life.
Right. And that was so much fun.
That was incredible.
We got to create what we hoped Arnold's life was like in our cartoonish, childish brain.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll get to those scenes. I think the war
we're
room
coming
idea.
up on that.
That's a big, very heavily Conan
And I think Little Austria was really made me happy whenever that emerged.
Was that your idea, Little Austria? I love that idea.
The cable car going up there?
Yeah. That's a scene. We might read that scene.
It was fun, though. It was fun to get together and work on this thing.
This was so much fun. Just because the characters are, it's like the way you guys say, when you would write these, you just can't stop laughing because they're just so high energy and so stupid at the same time.
Well, the rhythms are, you guys are trying to read the script, but you're not very successful, are you?
Conan, also, you remember that we wrote, I mean, we all did, but we wrote at that hotel in Santa Monica, that kind of retro place.
Yes, I remember that.
Because I have pictures of you. I sketched of you laying on the couch playing with your shoe.
Yeah, I used to take, when I was thinking, I used to take off.
Your wingtips.
I used to wear jeans with old wingtip shoes from like an Army Navy store. Yeah. And I would take off one of the shoes and just look at it when I was thinking. And you drew a sketch of it, which ended up in your book.
In my book called I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame. It's available wherever fantastic books are sold.
Yep. And that plug is the only reason Kevin agreed to come in.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
We got it out of the way.
You took a long time to work up to it, though, bro.
All right, let's read to the next scene we're going to read, and we'll begin right now. Here we go. After losing their TV show, Hans and Franz head back to Little Austria to start humble new careers there. Instead, their grandma inspires them to follow in their cousin Arnold Schwarzenegger's footsteps and become Hollywood stars. They also meet their friend Rolf, who seems to be hatching an evil scheme involving girly men. Okay, exterior highway day. Beauty shots of Hans and Franz riding their tandem bikes on the highway. A sign reads Hollywood 3,063 miles. They notice it and press on determinedly. Cross dissolve. Hans and Franz biking, grim-faced with passing road signs. Smithsonian Institute, Liberty Bell, Gettysburg Memorial. They ignore them and ride on. The next sign reads Vienna Wonderland. They turn off the highway. Dissolve to exterior highway later. They are back on their tandem bike. Their knapsacks are stuffed with large, bulky, corny souvenirs.
Okay, what loser am I?
What century did you live in?
19.
How flabby were you?
I was 40 pounds overweight.
Louis Pasteur?
You're getting too good.
All right. What loser am I?
Will you Were you pear-shaped or completely round?
God, I want to play that game. All right. Exterior, small-town laundromat, day. Hans and Franz pedal up to the entrance. Interior, laundromat, same. Hans and Franz are in their long underwear, shoving their sweatsuits into a washing machine. A few nearby customers hold their nose. Cut to Hans and Franz later removing their sweatsuits from a dryer. They have shrunk noticeably.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. This is not the proper size.
An older woman at the next dryer has noticed them.
That's what happens, these machines. You put your clothes in, you don't know what's coming out. They don't take care of these machines.
Yeah.
You're not going to get your money back, I'll tell you that. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, well, anyway, we should go. We're going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Can't be any worse than this.
Highway later. Hans and Franz are now joined by the older woman on the tandem bike. There are now somehow 3 seats and 3 wheels. Interior truck stop diner later. Hans, Franz, and the older woman are seated in a booth ordering from a waitress.
Are any of these foods designed for building sheer mass?
Just what's on the menu, sir.
Okay, I'll have an anabolic amino schnitzel sandwich with extra egg yolk.
We don't serve that sandwich, sir. We have a tuna or chicken salad.
You're saying you don't make substitutions?
A huge truck driver with 2 of his buddies belly up to the counter next to Hans and Franz.
Lorraine, these characters giving you trouble?
I can handle it, boo.
Yeah, boo.
Yeah, boo. She can handle it too.
Yeah.
Good, because I wouldn't want to have to kick anyone's head in.
Keep your shirt on.
Yeah,
boo.
Boo.
Don't the boo.
The boo. Yeah, don't take your shirt off or your belt because you might cause a flabberlanche.
I guess we should take this outside.
They get up to leave and start backing out of the diner.
I see. Yeah, very clever. We're going to pummel you and end up in jail. I don't think so.
Yeah, hasta la vista, babies. We're headed for Hollywood.
They are at the door, turning back.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, what now?
Did you say Hollywood?
Exterior highway. Hans, Franz, the older woman, and the 3 truck drivers are pedaling on the tandem bike, which now has 6 seats and 6 wheels. Okay, interior lair, twilight, music, impending doom. The lair's a cavernous dark room with a network of ramps leading to different levels. Rolf walks past the crew-cut, uniformly clad musclemen goons standing guard. He hits a control panel and turns in his swivel chair to face a large screen. Distorted colors on the screen vibrate from the disembodied voice of Mr. X, Rolf's mysterious leader. Lieutenant Rolf reporting to Mr. X.
How is the plan to kidnap girly man and convert them into muscle men proceeding?
You're a very slow talker.
Everything is in place.
Very well. Set the plan into motion. Remember, I want choice, girly man.
It shall be done.
And don't forget to hurt the environment.
I think I heard you correctly. You said, don't forget to hurt the environment.
I told you, the environment.
Wow, you're laying it on thick.
Hurt it.
All right.
Hurt the environment.
I won't.
You
I'll hurt
fool.
Rolf is petting a button marked hurt environment. He laughs villainously. Our 6 bikers, led by Hans and Franz, with passing highway signs. Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone National Park, Grand Canyon. A road sign with a picture of a large beer stein reads Stein Museum, featuring Hermann the German Glockenspiel. The bike turns off the freeway. Exterior, Stein Museum, day. Hans and Franz are exiting with their friends, all armed with new souvenirs and steins. They turn a corner and enter. Screening room, day. Interior, Roger Ebert. Let's just, there's some older references here.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert, famous movie reviewer, had a show.
Originally, it was Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert.
We were going to do that.
Yeah. Roger Ebert is watching the Hans and Franz movie, taking notes. Hans, Franz, and their friends all enter.
How do you like it?
Holding up quite well, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not much has really happened yet.
Didn't think 2 sketch characters could sustain this long, did you?
Ebert shrugs.
This is Vanda?
Right. I saw.
Yeah, the Blake, Colin, and Sam.
How you doing?
I really should get back to.
Yeah, what part are you up to?
Angle on the screen. Ebert is up to the beginning of this scene with Hans and Franz entering an essay of questions. Angle on Hans and Franz watching the scene with interest.
Oh yeah. This is the good part right here.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, this is very enjoyable.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Yeah. Let's leave him alone.
Yeah, let's go.
They noisily exit. Ebert sighs, then looks to camera.
It is good.
Oh, man. Good Lord, that is low. Exterior highway later. The tandem bike rolls along. It now carries 10 people, including a businessman, a 10-year-old girl, and the cartoon-headed mascot from the Stein Museum. Dissolved to the tandem bike approaching a sign reading Entering Hollywood. Hans removes a large pin from behind his seat, disengaging Hans and Franz from the rest of the tandem bike, which splits into 8 different unicycles. The others disperse, expertly pedaling in different directions.
Goodbye.
Take care. Hans and Franz wave once more, then triumphantly ride past the sign. Wow. Okay. All right. That is now Hans and Franz have arrived in Hollywood. That seems as good a place as any to stop. I completely forgot, because I really liked it now. It was a nice surprise. I completely forgot that they visit Ebert, who's reviewing.
This is like my favorite
reviewing
thing.
the movie as it's happening.
Yeah.
And
This is, I guess, like
I forgot that until I looked at the script again.
I always love the unicycle thing where they keep taking more and more people on the tandem bike.
This part of the movie was very Pee-wee
Yes.
Big Adventure
Yeah.
influenced.
Yeah.
And then the second half, I think, is more Simpsons-y.
Yes.
Where it becomes a parody of Hollywood. But what's funny about the way you guys edited this, talk about old references. So that scene in the diner was like a parody of the famous, it was meant to be a parody of the famous scene in 5 Easy Pieces
Yes.
where Jack Nicholson wants a certain kind of sandwich and
I
they
think
say no
chicken salad.
substitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to take the bread and I want you to substitute the anabolic steroids or whatever it was.
Hold it between your knees, I think was the famous.
Yeah, and that was in there too. I want you to hold it. But it's just so funny. That's how old that reference is that even your guys didn't pick up on it, that it was a 5 Easy Pieces.
A movie from 1973 with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
There's also some Charlie Chaplin things you cut out.
Yeah, that's true.
Every day starts with me telling my staff who I am. I had a late night show in the 90s.
But you know, when we're reading this, I could just picture it. Like when we were writing it, it's almost like you could visualize the movie done already.
Mm-hmm.
Like picking that little pin up and letting the unicycles go, you know? If I was the director, I'd have a close up on that.
I do think that's great that it's funny with the sound off. I mean, I think that was probably all intentional, obviously, because our voices of droning and braggadocio is one lane, but then all these physical gigs.
Yeah.
Also, I'm glad that you reminded me, Dana, you brought up a really good point, which is Hans and Franz do a lot of boasting and a lot of flexing and a lot of talking about how they're going to twist the flab around you. But when confronted by a trucker who's saying, hey, is this guy giving you a problem? You guys are in his face, and the minute he suggests a fight, you want no part of it.
Yeah, nice try. We put you in the hospital. I give you kudos. I give you kudos for your attempt.
Do you know why you're here now in this scene? Because we wrote the scene for you. Don't press your luck, my friend.
Yeah.
Press 20 pounds, maybe.
If you threaten us, we could threaten you back and then walk away all pumped up.
Hear
and
me
you have to
now.
look at our muscular buttocks as they recede in the distance.
I go open up the back doors of your truck, and believe me, fat would come rolling out with lard. That's right.
Instead
Believe
of a
me.
trucker's hat, you should wear a fatty hat. Because you're fat, right, Franz?
Oh, is that Hans not getting off a good one and he's unsure of himself?
Second guessing. Franz is his leader.
All we did was scratch the surface here. This was our first episode. You've got to stick around because in the next episode, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself enters the scene. Of course, he ended up not doing the movie.
I know this is hackney, but I would not want to miss the next episode.
No.
Can I just tell you when Arnold Schwarzenegger came to SNL to be in the first sketch with us?
I remember that, yeah.
First of all, we couldn't believe he wanted to do it because basically we were making fun of him.
Yeah.
And then we realized he's coming on the show to kill us. And he came and got us that day.
Yeah.
And we were on the set and they brought us to his dressing room and his name was on the door and it was so long it went onto the wall a little bit, you know?
Uh-huh.
And we opened the door, it's full of cigar smoke. Remember that, Dana?
Oh yeah, he's in a lounge chair. He's got a big cigar.
One cigar, one hand, the script we wrote from the other, and he looks through the cigar smoke to us, and he goes, "Hello, fellas. Now, how am I supposed to do the accent?"
Yeah.
Right then we knew he was cool.
Yeah, because he's like I said, Arnold is very pragmatic. Yeah, the more they doing me on the show, and it makes it better that I can laugh at myself. You know, other actors are very serious, but they see the joy and the comedy. It opens up a whole new world for me.
Yes, he was. Well, he went on to be a governor. He had political instincts.
He used a lot of the Hans and Franz references too. He did.
He did. Yeah. Got in trouble for it too.
New York Times wanted to interview me. I was on a camping trip, but they said, "What does girly man mean? What are you trying to say?" You know, it's like,
I mean, they became such a big part of pop culture. Even the astronauts on the shuttle were doing, "Want to pump you up."
Oh, in gyms everywhere. Don't be a girly man. Don't be a girly
I mean,
man.
even in Argentina, and some of the horses were doing it, and mules were doing it.
All right, I'm going to break it off there. Kevin's going on one of his famous tangents. Let's get him his pills. We're going to be back. You got to stick around for the second episode. We are reading Hans and Franz, The Girly Man Dilemma, the movie that was never made. It was written in 1991. We've got Dana, we've got Kevin, we've got Robert Smigel, and myself.
But not Arnold.
We'll see. We'll see if he shows up next time. Stick around for that next episode.
Yeah.
Wow.